Well, the time is just gone, 12 minutes past 9 into the second half of this morning's edition of News and Views brought to you by Africa Muslims Agency. Now, many of us will recall that what turned out to be an expression, a peaceful expression of solidarity with the people of Palestine, and this was at a football match out in Pretoria, actually turned out to be, and according to this press release from Africa for Palestine, excessive force, arrest, detention, prosecution, and to the extent that even the five accused, and we all know them popularly as the Loftus Five, they were denied medical treatment while in police custody. And I recall being in court on that day when they made the first appearance. But Africa Muslims Agency has now issued a press statement welcoming the withdrawal of charges against the Loftus Five. We joined in studio by one of the Loftus Five accused, Shehryar Khan, and also attorney representing the Loftus Five, Advocate Abdullah Omar online. We're waiting on Advocate Abdullah to come on screen. He is on screen as well. And Shehryar was me in studio. Assalamu alaikum to you, Abdullah, and to Shehryar.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, Shehryar, you are in studio. So let's just talk about this press statement, and I'm sure this is welcomed, and particularly for Africa Muslims, Africa for Palestine, that have been central in supporting you throughout this entire ordeal. And as I mentioned, I was in court on that day as well, and one could just see the emotions that were actually running very, very high on that day. And we knew at some point in time that there wasn't even a case against all five of you.
No, shukran, Uncle Inayat, for this, and assalamu alaikum to all the listeners out there. Firstly, I must say thanks to our Creator for making this all work out in our favor. Alhamdulillah. Secondly, is there was never a case to start off with. What actually happened on the day was people were showing acts of solidarity. If you recall, it was the campaign week for Palestine which was taking place. It was also World Kafia Day on the same day. Many of us
in the red card for Israel,
had the red card
t-shirts.
T-shirts.
I've got one in my possession at home.
Yes, correct. It was instigated somewhere along the line. One of the one of the police officers taken offense to it, and he said, "Look, if you take offense to it, it's your problem. We're not instigating any problem. We're sitting in the stands. We're watching the soccer game." And what had transpired after that is the next minute, a whole lot of police had come out in huge numbers with shields and basically have harassed us, traumatized us, children, women included. Stripped women of their clothing in the stadium, tear gassed us, pepper sprayed us. Unfortunately, they had no sympathy whatsoever in the stadium. Easily could, I would say, cause definitely some cause of disaster. It was ready to unfold. I think if there were a few more people, there definitely would have been a disaster happening in that stadium. They had the situation, definitely they never had any control of the situation. They provoked the entire situation out of control, and in the process, we don't know how, but we believe that we were handpicked and arrested as an outcome of that.
Well, perfect. Jazakallah. Let's just bring Attorney Abdullah into the discussion as well. Abdullah, I recall still in court, and there was just so much confidence on the part of the legal team, yourself, your mom, correct me if I'm wrong, Yasmin as well, was actually present. And there was just so much confidence on the part of the legal team, particularly with regard to the police producing credible evidence as far as the five accused were concerned, because at that point in time, there was just nothing legally that they could actually go by.
Gee, you're absolutely correct. When we received the docket, after many postponements of the matter, myself, My senior attorney, Omar, who, Uncle, you correctly said is my mother as well. We looked at it together along with the rest of our legal team, and we said, but look here, the state has no case. Rather, we shouldn't even be going to trial for this matter. So on our end, on the legal side of things, what we did was we made written representations to the senior public prosecutor, telling them every place where their docket is wrong. And surprisingly so, as the story is written in the docket and in the video footage were two starkly different things. And I can say this now because the matter is officially out of court. A police officer is saying, when I went there, the people were already being violent on the pitch. In the video footage, when the police enter, you see the Loftus 5 as well as the other 150 or 200 people on the stands, just clapping their hands and watching the match. So how can there be any violent protest? How can there be any violent demonstrations, as the states has stated in their document? And for those reasons, we were successful in our representations. We didn't waste our clients' time in taking the matter to trial, where they were going to have to take away 3 days of weekday, three days within the week, where they could have been earning money for themselves, for their family, doing any other thing but having the traumatic experience of being in court. So alhamdulillah, yesterday the charges were withdrawn, and from our end, we are more than happy with the result, particularly in the fact that our clients don't need to go through the trauma of a trial, especially when there was a matric student there with them.
Yes, Abdullah, and also I think just staying with you, and when I look at this press statement, it speaks about abuse of state power, unjustified infringement of fundamental constitutional rights. Now, this is very profound, and it's actually paramount as well. And as you mentioned, I think the key issue here, and the statement again reinforces. I see Abdullah has. Oh, there we go. Abdullah is there, and the statement also reinforces that for more than a year, the 5 accused have lived under the shadow of criminal prosecution, and as obviously attending all the court appearances as well. I'll ask Shehryar to also comment in terms of what the last year has actually meant for him, but just looking at it from a legal perspective.
Look, looking at it from a legal perspective, we all have a constitutional right to expression. And what my clients did on the day was merely express what the majority of South Africa already believes, that we are in full support of Palestine through and through. Finished. That's it. To arrest people, especially for participating in a cause which our president is so staunchly alongside with, is completely contradictory to our values as a nation. We've come through apartheid. Apartheid was a horrible time. Apartheid was to the point that even Nelson Mandela said, the freedom of South Africa is not guaranteed unless we have the freedom of Palestine. Now, to the point of why this criminal case took so long. As you'll remember, from the first postponement, it was for the bail application. Normally, when it comes to these criminal matters, depending on the scale of the matter, like our matter, you'll see that it will be postponed for a bit longer. Certain cases like theft, you'll see shorter postponements. But the first postponement was for address. The prosecution has to satisfy itself that the address was found by the police. But I do have my contentions on that, because I believe if a person is arrested, the police must be very proactive. No matter what time it is, they must go and verify that address, because each and every day the person is sitting in the cells, it could be an unlawful arrest. As we have here with our matter, it was an unlawful arrest. So that 1 week that our clients were sitting in the cells unlawfully, our clients can claim from the Minister of Police. Secondly, there were more postponements to allow the state time to finalize their docket. Look, the state has to be cautious when it comes to their docket. They only have 3 chances, which means 3 postponements to get their docket in order. By, if I'm not mistaken, and Shehryar can correct me, by last month, we were only able to give the representations. After consultation with the client, after satisfying ourselves as the legal representatives that, there really is no case here, that's when we gave our written representations. And this was the outcome.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. Shehryar, just like a comment, the last year, while there were postponements after postponement, in the absence of the docket as well, what did it actually mean to you? And also to speak on behalf of the other 4, Farooq Khan, Imtiaz Daniels, and Mohammed Khan as well?
Thanks, Uncle Inayat. Firstly, it is very traumatic experience that we experienced the first 3 nights that we spent in the cells, coming out knowing that the matter is still not over, continuously hanging on your shoulders, affecting your daily routines, daily work. It was a huge inconvenience. It affected our families. Our families, alhamdulillah, stood strong behind us. Our alliances, partners, people, many have supported us through this year. And we're grateful for everyone's support. But I think if it wasn't for the support and the structure that was there to stand with us, I think mentally and psychologically would have a long time broken down. So we're very grateful for that. Unfortunately, even in our careers, it has affected us. Shahzad Khan and others have careers that they pursue, and many times it's these things that hang on the balance of allowing us to move forward. Unfortunately. So yes, it's affected us. It's traumatized us. Alhamdulillah, it's off our shoulders right now, and I think we're just grateful right now that we've passed this first chapter. Alhamdulillah.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. And, I think, obviously it's quite a relief, at this point in time. Just, how are the others feeling?
It's a huge relief. I think specifically for the youngster Imtiaz, he's in matric this year. Unfortunately, during critical periods, he had to leave school to attend court, and it affects his schooling career. This is his future. Depending on the outcome of this matric year, it's his future ahead of him. And so I think for him it's a huge relief. And for the others, it's affected them all financially. I think one of the other had to travel. He has contract worked out of the province, and whenever the court dates were set, he had to travel from outside the province inside. So it's financially, it was a huge burden for many of us, taking off from work, how it's influenced appointments and so forth. Unfortunately, it had huge repercussions on our personal lives.
Yes, I just wanted to bring Abdullah back into the discussion. Abdullah, are you still with us?
GIM?
Okay, all right. Abdullah, just looking at it from going forward, and I see the statement speaks about constitutional rights that cannot be applied selectively, particularly when it comes to peaceful protest and political expression. And the key issue now is going forward from here in terms of those that have been responsible for these unlawful arrests, the use of force, the degradation, and the treatment that was meted out to the Loftus files. Although the withdrawal of charges is welcome, but just going forward from looking at it in terms of holding those accountable and seeking justice.
Yes. At present, now that the charges have been withdrawn, we have 2 cases that we are going to pursue in the High Court on behalf of our clients, as well as their family members, particularly those who have been harmed by the police. Pepper spraying people at point blank, pepper spraying people in general, hitting people, telling them to take off their t-shirts, placing people in the nude in front of children, in front of the public. It's degrading. It's a violation to the right to dignity. That's why we've already sent out the letters of demand to the Minister of Police for police brutality and unlawful arrest. So now, at present, where we are standing, to remedy the loss of rights for our clients. We are asking the state to reimburse our clients for the violation of their rights.
Well, certainly, and I'm sure we will follow that up as well in terms of how that engagement is going with the acting minister of police and the authorities as well. Shehryar, what are you seeking?
Look, I'm just grateful. Firstly, it's nothing in comparison. No act of solidarity is not charity. I just want to make that statement very clear. For us to stand in solidarity, standing with what the people in Gaza are going through, still currently, I think it's the least we could do. We owe them a lot more, in my personal view. So wherever we could contribute, our little difficulty is nothing in comparison to what they're going through. And wherever we can, and I would encourage all, don't be afraid, take a stand in solidarity. That's what we need to do. We need to unite, solidarity for one cause, and we can do it. We've proven this. We can undo the algorithms that's out there. We can do this. So I'd like to thank firstly all the alliances. I think it's quite critical. My family members, those that have supported me, my friends, my colleagues, my political party, all of them have been standing with me through this difficult time, and I thank them all for being there. To name them, I think today's take too long. Including the media houses, I think that's covered this and allowed us to have some sort of expression. We appreciate it.
Well, this was about the Loftus 5, but also I think when one looks at the biggest stage in world football at the moment, we look at the World Cup and how prominently Palestine is actually featured. We've seen the Egyptian coach holding up the Palestinian flag. We've heard about the Norwegian team on their return to Norway, Oslo, massive Palestinian flags as well. So it has, obviously, the Palestine cause hasn't been forgotten. And while this biggest stage of World Cup was taking place as well, it's actually exposed a lot more. It's exposed a country like Argentina. He may be the best player in the world. Lionel Messi, it's exposed him as well in terms of his Zionist affiliation. So it's just so much actually that come out of this, Shehryar. And again, reminding the world that the Palestinian cause will never, ever be forgotten, irrespective of whether it's at Loftus Versfeld or whether it's going to be in the biggest stage of world football.
No, definitely. And Uncle Unite, we intend to continue our activism in every way we can. I think with this, it's a learning curve that no matter what, justice will prevail.
Certainly. Just final thoughts from you, Abdullah. Those words, justice will prevail, from Shehryar.
Gee, justice will prevail, as we've already seen. We won round 1. Round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no matter how many rounds the state wants to go. We're ready, we're going to fight, and we are going to win.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan so much to you, Attorney Abdullah Omar, and also to Shehryar Khan for coming in studio this morning with us. All the best to you, inshallah, and we certainly will follow developments. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, this was a press release. Africa for Palestine welcomed the withdrawal of charges. This was issued yesterday, and unpacking just what was contained in the press statement. We're going to go for a break. We'll be back.